Even in my darkness, the sunshine. Even after midnight, the sunrise. Even when I'm down, I'ma get mine, get mine. The sun will shine again. The sun will shine again. The sun will shine again. The sun will shine again.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Randy with On Edge Radio, and welcome back to another exciting episode. So today we have a special guest in the house. We have the one and only Brian L. King. What's up, man?
Hey, man. How you doing today? Pleasure to be here.
Definitely. Appreciate you coming out. So let's talk about, so what do you do, first of all? Let's talk about what you do professionally in this industry.
Well, professionally, I am a fashion photographer.
Okay.
But I shoot a lot of weddings as well. Because,
Nice.
you know, really that's where the money's at. So for now, we're doing a lot of weddings too.
Wedding season, is it still popping in this time?
Yes. You know, the further south you go, the longer wedding season is. So, you know, some of y'all northern photographers, y'all better think about it and, you know, maybe want to come down to the south.
And here's what I don't get. They always want to get married like outside when it's like 20 degrees and it's like, hey, we're going to get married outdoors and it's negative 100 degrees out here. But hey, whatever. We're still going to do it. I'm like, it's freezing cold and you want the best video and the best photos and our hands are falling off and your guests are like, why are we out here? But hey, that's what they want to do.
Yeah, that's a force to be reckoned with because my fingers are numb, you know, and I ain't gonna lie, I am not an outdoor cold, how do I want to say it?
Cold person.
Yeah.
But weren't you in the Navy though? Don't y'all just sit in cold water?
We did, yes, and there has been many a days where I froze my butt off.
Nah, I'm sure it'll be all right. You should be used to it by now.
But I have a choice now, so.
True, this is true. So talk about how long you've been in like doing photography. Why'd you get started photography, and how long you've been doing photography? And what is your favorite form of photography?
Well, actually, I started photography back in high school, and of course, then I got out of it and went into the Navy, and I wish I would have did photography in the Navy, but they had other plans for me. And so then after that, you know, I kind of went into law enforcement and then got out of that. And then when I moved here to the South, I, you know, of course, I was married and my wife models, and I was always around models and photographers. So needless to say, it was an easy thought and an easy process to get back into photography. So nice. I've been doing photography for about 9 years now, professionally, you know, and like I said, mainly I shoot models, shoot for magazines, portfolios, and I would say over the last 3.5, 4 years, I actually got into weddings because weddings actually pay a lot more.
That is a lot of money in weddings.
It's a lot of work too, but
definitely
it pays a lot more. So,
but you know, they say in wedding photography and videography, you're doing every single form of photography. You're doing product photography, you're doing event photography, you're doing portraits, you're doing what's the other styles? Real estate photography because you got to shoot the venue. It's every form of photography, even sport photography. If you think about
sports, because you're on the move.
Exactly, and you got to catch the bouquet toss, all of that stuff.
You do.
It's a lot.
It's like sports.
Yeah.
So like a sports photographer, you know. But I tell you what in photography I would have to say is the hardest to do as well.
Agreed.
Because you have to go on the rip. You are shooting in every direction. And when you go from indoors to outdoors, the lighting is different. When you go from this angle to another angle, the lighting is different. And you have to be able to make those settings and changes like instantaneously and still get those shots, because a lot of times there is no do-overs. And you can't go to the bride talking about, well, what had happened was, they're not trying to hear that. Yeah. They want results, and they want good results.
Okay. So while we're on the wedding topic, let's talk about what do you like and dislike about shooting weddings?
Well, one thing I like about shooting weddings is I love working with other people. I love being a part of two people coming together, that union, the families blending together, and being able to be a part of that and capturing that essence in its pure natural form is like, it's unheard of. So there's a lot that goes on in the weddings, and me interacting, and it's almost like they treat you like family when you go in and shoot their wedding. Now, the bad side to a wedding is, like I said, there's no do-overs. The lighting situation is different in every angle, every aspect that you turn. Even if you've already been shooting from this angle, you can go somewhere else, come back a couple minutes later, and the lighting will still be different.
Always different.
Yes, you do. And then there's a lot of personalities. So that could really be a force to deal with when you're dealing with a bunch of different personalities.
Yeah.
So one thing I like to do is, for one, right off the bat, you need to connect with the bride and groom. You need to connect with the groomsmen. You need to connect with the bridesmaids.
Very important.
Connect with their families.
Yep.
Get to know them. And don't get me wrong, you have a very short amount of time, but this is things as a photographer you should be doing. You have to know the best friends, know who the pastor is, know the moms, the dads, that grandmom that made it, that special aunt that came a very far distance. You have to learn all that stuff in a very short amount of time, because I tell you what, later on when you take those pictures to the bride, she's going to be looking for the best friend, that aunt, that mom, that special person. And if you don't have, you can give them 3,000 pictures, but if you don't have one picture of that person they're looking for, they're going to say you ruined their wedding.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a lot, but it's doable. And
So-
once you do it a couple of times, it should be like second nature to you.
So it's basically more than just photography at this point.
Oh, yes. It's so much more.
And you got to put out fires constantly. It's always something. You got to be
do.
a problem solver. You got to be a mediator, because I've ran into a lot of situations to where when we did the photos after the ceremony, you had people arguing. The bridal party, they're arguing, they're fussing and fighting. They think they're the photographer. They're trying to tell the photographer how to pose and how to do the poses. And I'm just like, that's not your job. So a lot of times, even I had to step in because the photographer got overwhelmed. And in several weddings, so me as the videographer, I had to step in and be like, yo, like, chill. Because, of course, they'd take a man's, like, opinion over a woman. That's sad, but a lot of people do like to run over female photographers and female videographers.
They will sometimes, yes.
And it's horrible, man.
It is. But, you got to do what you got to do. Thankfully, like I said, I'm a real people person. So I really haven't had no major issues in that aspect. Now, I have had to deal with a lot of bridal parties getting drunk too soon and still have to do the group shots.
Oh, yeah. Then they disappear.
Yeah. And then they don't want to. Everybody's talking, everybody's loud,
like,
and
shut up.
One time I had this bridal party, and it must have been a good 30 people, easy, and they were all drunk. So that was a big challenge. That was a really big challenge to get those pictures done and get it done right.
So let's talk about. So we've been working together. We worked on what, 2 or 3 weddings together?
2 or 3 weddings,
and
yes.
We worked on several weddings together, and we never had issues. But I've worked with other photographers that I've had issues with. So like, what are some issues that you have with other videographers, if you have any, or if you haven't had any? What are some issues that you think you can run into with the videographer? Because I know a lot of videographers and the photographers, they're 2 different companies, and then they work together for the first time on that gig, and they don't have a lot of time to meet. They don't have a lot of time to get to know each other, know your shooting style.
Right.
So what I do is whenever I go to a wedding for the first time, I find the photographer, introduce myself. That's important. And I
Yes.
say, hey, my name is Randy Williams with On Edge Films. And I ask them, what is your shooting style? How do you shoot? Where do you usually post up and where do you stand? And I let them know how I shoot. And I always try to compromise. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to compromise with the photographer mostly. But a lot of times if the photographer is just in the way or they just, I don't know. I just did a wedding this past weekend and the photographer was just hiding in the corner the whole time. So
wow.
I took it upon myself to take the center stage. So I don't know what his photos look like, but
Yeah.
yeah. So back on I'm getting sidetracked,
Okay.
going on a rabbit hole. So what are some issues you run into with videographers?
Well, let me tell you. First of all, thank God, I have not had any issues with any of the videographers that I've worked with.
Nice.
Which is a major plus. So, but I kind of ask the same questions that you do.
Yeah.
I meet with normally there's 2 photographers and 1 videographer.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I'll talk it over, and if possible, all 3 of us will all talk together.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, okay, I'm going to be from this angle. I'll be here. I like to know what type of videographer I'm working with. Some videographers, they like to just post up in the back and stay stationary the entire event. There's other videographers that like to move around.
That's a lazy videographer.
And, I like to know what's going on and where everybody's going to be at so we can actually stay out of each other's way because, in a sense, we're all competing for the same space in the same spot to get the same shot.
Of course.
So we have to learn how to be a team, and together everybody achieves more, as opposed to us working against each other, and then nobody's happy, especially the bride.
That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, it's definitely bad.
Gotta make her happy, man.
You do.
It's gonna be the absolute
You'll be
worst.
giving out some refunds, and then your checks will be bouncing, and
Oh yeah.
So I haven't really had any major problems with videographers, but again, there could be problems because, like I said, we are, in a sense, fighting for the same space to get the same shot, especially when it comes to putting on the rings. Doing the unity candles or the covenant with the sand, so there's
a lot.
Yeah, when you got little things that you're working with and you got all these people and we're from different angles and stuff, and then you got to try to stay out of each other's shot, so it's a lot. But you know what? I am a real team person, and I don't mind sharing space and making sure I get my shot, making sure the videographer gets their shot, and making sure the other photographer get their shot.
See, here's what really blows me with you photographers. I mean, y'all can't help it, but it's the flash. I go home to edit the video, and I'm going through the footage, and all I see is flash, 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 flash. I'm just like, I don't want to. It's like I don't know. I don't want to give them just a whole video just flash, but that does make the editing process a lot harder. I know you just got into doing wedding videos, right?
Yes.
So you're gonna understand when you get into the room and you're editing. You're gonna see, oh, I know what Randy's talking about because you gotta edit. You gotta cut away those flashes. There is a way to fix it, but it's just an extra step that I don't want to take because I'm already editing 12 hours worth of footage. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
So that's my only thing. And then, of course, I've ran into issues where the photographer thought they were the center of attention. Like, I'm the photographer, so I'm more important than you. You're just a video guy. You're second, whatever. And I'm like, we're both just as important because the photos are just as important as the video. And I see it on equal standard, not because I'm a videographer, but you can see the photos. That's great. It's good to have photos, but when you have a video, that's moving pictures, so you're actually reliving that event. And when you see a video, you're actually reliving those emotions. You're seeing your husband cry for the first time when he saw you again. You're seeing when he saw you walk out for the first time. You're seeing yourself in the wedding dress when you're putting it on. You're seeing yourself getting ready, so you're reliving that day again. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they're both equal, and a lot of photographers, they feel like they are the end all be all, and they don't like sharing the space.
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I do agree. I honestly think like this. I mean, like I said, I'm a team person, so I feel like this here. The bride and groom has hired us to do a job. Us as professionals, we should work together to give them what they're paying for. And actually I did have a problem one time. I was working with another photographer, and they were actually just like you were saying. They were like jumping in front of me trying to get the shot and stuff, and I'm like, okay, hold up.
Stealing your glory.
Time out. I so wanted to yank that photographer up, but I did later on, being a professional, I kept it cool and I kept it moving. I was heated on the inside. I was still smiling on the outside.
You got to be very professional.
I stayed professional, but when the first chance I got, we need to talk,
Definitely.
And I had to put that in check because that's not cool. And I'm not going to be taking a bunch of pictures of the back of somebody's head, and then they wondering why I didn't get the shot, all because that person was I ain't going to say it, but you get the point.
We all know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So, I've only had to deal with one photographer like that. Most of the photographers I work with were really cool. And actually, I'm still in touch with most of the photographers I work with and videographers, so.
We met at a wedding.
Yes, we did. First time I met you, we were at a wedding.
I meet some of the dopest people at weddings.
Yeah,
and one piece of advice I can give to videographers out there is when you go to a wedding and you meet a new photographer, have them get a few photos of you in action. That's great marketing. I do it at every wedding I go to. And they send me the photos, and it's dope photos because they go snap the picture. Even sometimes I would be a stand-in while we have free time and they're testing lighting. I would be a stand-in and let them shoot me to test their flash and stuff. So
that's smart.
That's
You're
great
a
marketing.
man.
That's great marketing. It's free photos. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Everything, everything works out. So let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Well, it was more like not a question, but so describe your idea of the perfect videographer to work with. And don't say Randy, I know.
You know what? Actually, I was about to say you.
Don't say Randy.
You were. I mean, hey, when I met you, you was laid back. You wasn't high strung. Our personalities blended instantly. Important. Neither one of us was like trying to overshine or overpower the other person. I mean, it was almost like we had worked together several times before the first time we worked together. So, I mean, it really worked. I wasn't in his way. At least I don't think I was in your way. He was never in my way. If I seen him coming one way, I'd probably go around another way, or I would step back so he can get the shot. I'm just like that.
Yep.
But it really worked out that, it went really smooth. So I appreciate that, man. You keep that up.
So one more thing. What can a bride and groom do to make the shoot a lot easier for a photographer, videographer, in your opinion?
Well, I have a contract that I signed with the bride and groom. And in fact, a lot of you photographers can copy this if you don't already have it in your contract. And if you don't have a contract, you need to start writing stuff down and getting it on paper.
And have a shot list and have them sign it.
Yes.
That's important.
So, yes. And you definitely need to know, like I said, those important people, you definitely need to know that. But one thing on my list is I tell the bride, no bridezillas allowed. And the reason why I have that in writing, because if you shoot a wedding, and if you guys have shot a wedding and had a bridezilla, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They are the ones. They always have a mean look on their face. They're yelling at people. They're making other people have ugly faces, and they have these nasty looks. And, you're out there shooting. You're going to capture a lot of those attitudes and those mean muggins, as I should say. You're going to capture all that, and you're going to hand those pictures over to her. Now, my suggestion to them is if you don't want mean pictures or ugly pictures, don't have a mean attitude.
Exactly.
And don't piss everybody off at the wedding. They are here for you. They love you. They are here to celebrate your union. So let's all be happy and let's all have a good time. Now, if you decide to be a bridezilla, I have it right here. Don't be trying to sue me later talking about you took all these bad photos.
Nope. The photos are great.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the photos. It's your attitude that had the problem. That's not,
yeah.
And there's one other thing that I would like to add. I think that us as photographers, we need to eat. Yes, we eat too.
Definitely.
We need to eat.
Feed us.
When the bride and groom sits down to eat.
Yep.
The reason why I say that is because we're trying to capture every moment of their event other than when they're eating. So when they sit down and eat, we need to sit down and eat. When they get up and start moving around, we need to be up taking pictures and capturing them mingle with everybody else in the first dance and the mom and son and the father and daughter dance. You know, we need to capture all that.
I went to a wedding and they had the vendors eat first. So we were the first ones in line so we can hurry up and shove our food down because they were going to do the speeches and everything during dinner. So they were like, y'all need to eat first, be the first ones in line. You eat, get like 10, 20 minutes, shove down your food, and then get back out there and shoot. I think that was the best wedding planner I've ever worked with. I forgot her name. I wish I remember her name. But that was couple years ago actually, but and then so there were some weddings I went to and I just didn't eat at all. It's 10 hours going by and I'm like, we didn't eat, and then we have to get the leftovers at the end of the day, and I'm like, I don't even want to eat now. I just go to McDonald's at this point. I don't even want what I have. It's leftovers, but yeah. So what advice would you give to like a new photographer or anybody who wants to get into the wedding industry, photography, video?
Well, actually, I got some great advice to give them. First of all, I mean, as much as it sucks, and I would never really tell you to just do something for free, but I'm going to tell you the first 1, 2, if you're not comfortable, maybe 3 or 4 times, do it for free.
Definitely.
But do it with somebody else. So you'll have a first photographer. You'll normally have a second photographer. And just tell them you want to be the wingman. You want to shoot outside of what they're doing, you know, because that is not, don't be hard-headed like me. I just got out there and started shooting and booking people and collecting money and, you know, and I just went on a wing, you know. But I don't recommend that for nobody, okay?
I got some bad weddings on my hard drive now.
Yeah. Thank God they worked out.
I got some horrible weddings on my hard drive.
They worked out. I ain't saying they were the greatest pictures, but it worked out.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely recommend getting the experience. Find some photographers that's already doing weddings. Be like, hey, if you don't mind, let me tag along. Let me get a couple pictures. Let me see how you do it. You know, hey,
how you
help
operate,
them carry their bag, help them with their equipment, you know, keep their stuff out the way. You know, whatever it takes, do whatever it takes to get that experience because it will pay off, you know. Plus, you're getting to meet people. You never know. You might have future clients out there that you don't even know exist yet.
Exactly.
So definitely tag along with another photographer. You know, help them out. Do whatever you can to make them more comfortable, more at ease, better to do their job. And at the same time, you're learning, you're taking pictures, you're getting the experience, you're getting the feel. And the best part about it is, if you take all bad pictures, there is no stress on you. Not at all. It's all on them. So get out there. Practice.
They're gonna most likely, like, whenever I use a second shooter for backup and I used a beginner, a lot of times I wouldn't even use their footage. They're just, one, I'm trying to help them out and get them the experience. And I knew the footage wasn't going to be like the best footage and it was going to be on my level of quality that I'm used to because I've been doing it for so long. So if I get a new shooter, I'm just trying to help them to get to where I am. So I've done gigs where I've had second shooters and didn't use none of their footage.
Wow.
But they could use that footage for their reel. They got the experience. They know what to do. So, I mean, it's not a lose-lose for them.
Right.
And it's not a lose-lose for me. I'm helping you gain exposure and gain skill. But, yeah, so.
And I tell you another thing is, now that you've said that, what I would do is when I work with other photographers, or if I hire them as my second photographer, being a team person that I am, I ask them up front, hey, what do you need for a portfolio? What do you need to help build your wedding book up? Do you need particular shots? And then I will help them get those shots so that they can help build their portfolio up.
You know what I've done? I've actually let someone use some of my footage that I've shot for their demo reel and help them get jobs that way. Maybe I'm just too
That's
nice.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when they get hired, people are going to expect that
quality,
work.
yeah.
Yes, they're going to expect
Yeah,
that
I mean,
quality, so they
hey.
better bring it.
I'm saying that's all. That's,
Yeah. So tell them to use it.
Use it. Yeah.
Use it
however
at
you
your
want.
own will. But hey,
Definitely.
there's something else on the other side of that equal sign, so you better bring it.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got. Brian, thank you so much for coming out. What are your social
pleasure.
media handles? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, the whole nine.
Okay, well, normally if you want to catch me on social media, I'm usually only on 2. I just don't have time to be keeping up all those social medias. I am on Instagram almost every day, and that's at Brian_L_King. That's King. And on Facebook, you can look me up at Brian L. King, or you can check out my photography page at King for Life Photography.
Dope. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, check out the other one. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. Add me on your playlist. Tell a friend. Do what you have to do. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
The sun will shine again. The sun will shine.